All right. Hello, Bsnpros community. Thank you for joining me on another webcast, podcast, whatever you want to call it. This is just me just coming out saying hello and introducing you to all the friends that I'm making on social media and people that are reaching out to me. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce my friend, Analyn Braza. Here she is. Analyn, I don't know if we have a little thing. I don't have that right now. We'll do a little clap, but nah, no clap. Sorry.
No sound,
How are
no
you doing?
sound.
What's going on? I heard I do got
Um,
a clap. One sec. Hold on.
there
There you go.
we go. There we go. Not much. I think it's been a pretty tough couple of days, mentally exhausted. Some people are emotionally exhausted, and I'm kind of feeling that, it's almost like we're all kind of connected in some way where when people are feeling a certain way, it's like you're starting to feel it too. And you could just be sitting there reading a book, having coffee, and all of a sudden this weird heaviness comes. And that's basically how I felt. So yesterday, with the events that have happened, actually 2 days ago, events that have happened in regards to what's going on in the world with, Charlie Kirk and the 9/11, remembrance of that. It's been really tough. It's been really, really tough. And I've kind of been through this up and down emotional battle, seeing everything that has unfolded. And I feel like that tightening, that knotting, tightening in your chest, that's like just wanting to come out and voice something, like what is going on, and going onto social media. I don't really go onto social media unless I really have to, or if I have a message that I want to share. Those are the only time I really go on there, or if I want to reach out to a friend, see how they're doing. um, Maybe doing some promotions about my business, but a majority of the times I don't do anything political. I'm not really political. I'm more kind of me. I'm a human being, so seeing what's going on in the world, it's emotionally exhausting.
Uh,
And I get people who says, hey, you know what, I don't watch the news. I don't know if you watch the news, but I watch YouTube here and there, mostly podcasts, people talking about stuff, live video feeds, um, things like that. So it doesn't really matter like what side you're trying to be in, because there's really no sides. You know what I mean? Like being human, there's no such thing as choosing sides.
no, there is no sides in this situation. Um, how you've been feeling, I've felt the same way the past couple of days, and it's so for me 9/11. Like I try to stay off social media on 9/11, and the minute I go in, it reminded me of 9/11, so I went it really fast, did my post, and it was like a compound of what happened with the whole Charlie Kirk thing. And I wasn't even because I worked all day yesterday,
Yeah.
and but the Charlie Kirk thing, I was at work and I was working with someone who was like they were they supported what Charlie Kirk said and things that he was saying and then it was on the news and you can feel like this density right in people's and how they were feeling
Yeah.
and when you're working out in public, it's kind of like you start to see how people because this is a big thing. It was a big either if you're on the right side or the left side or whatever, and the reactions from both from people that supported him, right? They're like, or people who didn't really support him, or people were like, oh, who is this guy? They're a little bit more intrigued,
Hmm.
and then there's some people that you can tell that they were like happy, and that's what bothered me the most, right? That's you're like
Yeah, it did.
it's
It's a very disturbing situation to
disturbing.
see
It's
people that
disturbing.
are.
They're kind of like they kind of make a joke about it, right? It's like, oh, that's not very cool.
Yeah, because that's someone's brother, someone's husband, someone's father. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, if you can, I mean, our humanity has kind of changed over time, I feel. And I think it's, it's a lot of the problems that's happening in the world. It's almost like what's happening here locally is happening all over the place. There's like this parallel. And I feel that, at the root of it all, we should definitely look back to, you know, how human we are. Where is the humanity? Where is the love? Where is it all gone? And I think it's really hit hard for me, because he was the voice of the generation, the younger generation. He was so young, and I feel for his daughter, to be honest, because if I was his daughter, oh man, that would be very traumatic, for his family to be there and see that happen for him. And I don't know how you feel. I know you're yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
So
you wouldn't want your daughter to go through something like that.
No, not at all. Not at all. So if you didn't know, my daughter goes to school in Utah.
Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah.
Logan. And then so that she's about, the school that she's at is about 2 hours away. So Salt Lake, this college about an hour away. So she's about an hour away also, but different side. I think she's on the south or north. I don't know. Point is, she's about a couple hours away. And my daughter, she's her faith, she's got a strong faith in
That's good.
Christianity, and she's probably the strongest one. She's the one that reads her Bible, goes to the Bible. She's that girl, and I'm really proud of her for that. And Charlie Kirk was someone that she listened to him. She listened to his thoughts and ideas, and he was very much like he was a Christian. And you can tell she's been going through some challenges, health issues and things like that. But there's some things that was, I can tell that she was affected by that, because that, first of all, it's close by the school, and she messaged me and she texted us, and she's like, and I can tell her tone, and having that conversation to her, like trying to tell her hey, you have to be not afraid, when have to tell her, hey, this is what we're coming down to, is the fear of telling you that you're wrong. And when you believe in something, when you have a certain belief or an opinion, and having fear that someone can now take away your life because you believe in something, especially in the day now, we're not living like in the 1800s where,
no,
back in the day, we're living this, we're supposed to be a little bit more ahead of time, where we can communicate and share ideas, but to take you out of this world because you had a belief or had an opinion about things, is a little scary. It's a little scary for the world, because I don't know what the future holds for my daughter, right? I don't know that. I don't know what the world she's going to live in, or how she's going to react. Is she going to suppress what she believes in? Is she going to suppress her faith? Is she going to believe her communication? Is she going to hold back and growing, right? And growing as a person, because that's how you grow as a person. You communicate. You have ideas, and you don't have to agree on everything.
Yeah.
But you listen, and one day you may formulate something, for another person that you meet across this life, and how you handle it, So to me, it's a little bit hard. It messes with my head a little bit.
I get it. As a father, you're always wondering, that your daughter's a strong person, and when you're a strong person, you're gonna be passionate about what your beliefs are, and I guess the message behind all of this, the lessons behind all of this, is you've got two choices. You can suppress it and never voice at all and never make those changes, or you can continue to voice it and create changes around you. You don't have to do it on a mass, I'm an influencer and I'm going to change the world by telling everybody. You could just do it on a smaller scale, or it could be small groups of people that you meet along the way. It doesn't have to be something huge where you got to be popular in order for to get the message across, because at the same time, when you're when you're speaking something and you're creating that belief, or you're offering some sort of idea of what you believe in and the values that come with it, you don't necessarily have to push it on anyone. You're just mentioning them, this is what I believe, right? And that person can take it with a grain of salt, or they can be like, you know what, I agree to disagree. And yes, it's a scary world out there, because you might run into that person that you may offend for any reason at all. And, and then all of a sudden it triggers them to want to make your life miserable. You get that 50-50 chance of whether you want to risk that or not. But really what this teaches us is we have to be courageous. We have to have that courage, because if we don't have that courage and we don't have that honesty, like some of his videos that I've watched, is, you got to have that hard conversation. And I think it starts with a little bit of both of us, both men and women. I read something about, how it's affecting women, how his message has affected the women in our lives, whether it's a mom, sister, whatever. And he says that men without women lose their compass. So what he believed is that men are builders by nature. And when you take away family, marriage, and legacy, that man's purpose begins to rot. So when men no longer see a future worth fighting for, they don't simply sit in peace, they spiral, and they get swallowed by addiction, rage, violence, or the kind of loneliness, that eats the soul. And a man without love or legacy does not rise, he collapses. And when enough men collapse, society itself begins to crumble.
I 100%.
And what that means is we need structure. We need structure.
Yeah. That's
right?
why.
Like for you as a father, you provide that structure for your daughter.
Sure. No,
right? And now she can teach that to her son, children, or whatever.
Yeah.
Hey, we need this structure. We got to have this structure.
You hit it. I'm 47 and I hit an age. I'll be honest with you, hit an age, and you're like, what my girls are growing up. I don't know, like I have a 21-year-old. She's moved on, right? And I was like, oh, that hurts, but I still got two more. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Then I got the 18-year-old. She's now my other one. She moves out, and really, I felt a loss of a purpose almost, because my goal was to like get her, wake her up, take her to school, have go to coffee. She was like a love that I have. She's another love in my life, and now she's gone, right? It's like I still have my little one, and it's there, yeah. And and that's what it's true. You do have to have a purpose. And what happens is, and I do believe this is why a lot of men, I do believe this is why a lot of men, they do go through depression, alcoholism, addiction. They lose a purpose. When you lose a purpose, I do believe that's when you're susceptible to a lot of things that can really get you in trouble. I'm just telling you right now, got in trouble. And we see on social media, I see this a lot, and this is gonna sound crazy, but this is where, like, right now you see a lot of these guys, people making pages of catching those dudes, trying to get them with little, like, you see that, right? That's a whole different world. I can watch like the whole Catch a Predator. You know what I'm talking about? I don't even want to.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like, they fall into these things, and I'm like, man, like. And these are all or there's a lot, or alcoholism, or addiction, or it could be a lot of different things to escape. And it's true, like these little domino effects of men, if enough of these guys start to fall, think about like the family, the destruction. We're not talking about making a bad business decision here. We're not talking about getting in a car accident. We're talking about things that are just like that can break and destroy a whole family, a whole domino effect of people, right? So even for myself, like I have to hold myself accountable. And I'm not saying I'm perfect. Trust me.
No, nobody is perfect.
I've said things, I've done things. I'm the one that will have to look at myself in the mirror for that. But at the end of the day, I know that I have to have a certain standard, because I can't, if I do something, it's going to be a domino effect.
Mhm.
And this is where it's happening. And you know, men, you do have, I mean, we're not saying, I'm not disregarding the woman's role, but what I'm saying is that men is the strength, right? We're the strong ones. We have to, even for me, like I'm emotional guy. I'll admit to that.
Yeah.
But when things happen at home, right? I can't cry. Like I have to
Yeah,
be
you
strong.
got to be grounded. You got
I
to
had
be
to be grounded, right? I have to let all the
gotta
girls
be
cry.
the rock, right? You know, when
I'm like,
everything goes
okay.
crazy.
Yeah, we get serious mode, but at the end, like I would say us I'll tell you this right now, us men, we do, but we know we have to be the strong ones. We have to be the strength for the women in our lives, the females in our
You know
lives.
what's really interesting though, because you know I have two sons, right? I don't have daughters. I have two sons. So as a mom, it's like, you know, when I'm on phone calls with them and they ask me questions about, hey mom, I have a girlfriend and all this stuff, and I was like, all right, don't jump into things too fast, right? I tell them, don't jump into things too fast, you know, take it slow, get to know the person, whatever, you know. And you know, you have the son that wants to show off, the one that wants to um you know, rent a really nice car through Turo just to take some girl that he met online on a date. I was like, you don't need to do all of that. You know, that's not necessary. But one thing, you know, as a mom of two boys, it kind of helps. It reminds me of the message Charlie said recently when I was watching a video of him, and he said he warned men. He warned men against being blinded by luxury dates and filtered smiles. He says, take her on a road trip where the car breaks down. Face the delay at the airport. Let her meet the frustration of bad weather, missed schedules, and tough moments. That's when the truth reveals itself. A woman who crumbles at discomfort will never survive the grind of marriage and family. But a
100%.
woman who laughs through the
That's
storm,
true.
that's the one you can build with.
That's so true. That's so true. Yeah, I feel I can understand that a lot. I get that, and especially with today's world, you know what? There's and I'll get a little personal here. So I got like a little discussion
Good.
with my
Yeah,
wife,
yeah.
and I don't know she'll, but anyways, I don't. She never watches. She doesn't really. I don't get her involved in my social media because I think it's just me. That's not really my goal. Like my goal is just me. So there's certain things I do separate social media and personal life, and there's certain things I try to be as authentic as I can be. I'm not trying to be anyone else. And anyways, what I'm trying to get at is there's a world out there that it's so like the videos that are getting the likes are the ones that people are pretending that they're not really that person. They're not that person, you know, like they show certain angles of their house, or they're showing their cars and they're showing the glam. They're showing all that. And it's a production. Yeah, people have to, like, nowadays it's a whole production, and
Yeah.
it's all, and if they don't understand, they're trying to, you know, us as a consumer, they're, you know, people are watching it like, oh yeah, and then we're subconsciously getting sucked in, and it's like now you want that, you want to live, and I almost fell for that trap many years ago when I started doing the social media thing. I was like, oh yeah, because I worked in luxury retail, I can show off this, I can, but I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to be known for that. I don't want to, like, what is your legacy? What is your what are you gonna like leave behind? And you know, so anyways, sometimes I post things that gets me in trouble with my wife.
No, I bet. I was like,
and then she'll like,
follow.
because people will read it. People will read it. They don't text me. They don't message me. They'll message her, and they're like, "Oh, Ben posted that he was sick." Like, yeah,
Is he
is he okay? Why don't they message me? Like, and I was like trying to explain, you know, I'm like, hey, like, you know, I'm not trying to be someone I'm not. I'm just being like as authentic as I can be. So I have to share those experiences. I can't pretend. I'm not gonna, like, you know, say, oh, I got the new I don't even have the new iPhone. I have the oldest iPhone around. It's a brick.
All right.
At the end of the day, I'm not trying to do that. So, and in that generation, I understand that generation. When you work in public, I see. How old is your son?
Both of my boys are 22 and 23.
Yeah, I see that a lot in the 20s. I see these kids. I see a lot of kids in their 20s coming in, trying to spend money, trying to show, trying to have nice things. And
But I always tell them, I warn them, I was like, look, I'm going to let you do what you want to do. Because, if you fail and you're wondering, well, I'm not going to say I told you so, but sometimes people learn the hard way. Sometimes they want to learn the hard way. And then there's those that are like, you know what? I need guidance. What should I do here? There's people that ask, and then there's people that just wants to experience it themselves and see what they learn from it. And I'm actually pretty impressed that they want to do that. Like my oldest son, he just got out of the Marine Corps. He lives with my mom right now just to figure out where he wants to go, what direction he wants to go in. And, I told him, hey, if your plans aren't what you want it to be, just contact me. Let me know what's going on so maybe I can help. And most of his response is like, Mom, let me do this on my own. I admire that. Okay, I'm going to let you do it on your own. But I'm still going to be there to guide you, to let you know, hey, you can always talk to me if you're stuck. And that's what I tell both of my kids. I tell both of them, I was like, look, life is tough. I went through it pretty hard. I had to learn lessons. I went through traumas. And I'm not saying that you're going to go through the same thing. Hey, you might even have it easier because I'm telling you what I went through. Maybe you want to do something different than what I did. Great. But life's always going to teach you something. It's not always going to be the same for everybody. But when it does get tough and when it does get hard, always look at what you're learning from that. Yes, feel it, dwell in it for a few minutes, but while you're feeling that, figure out what's your next steps. What are you going to do? Are you going to sit in it forever and drown yourself in liquor or, drugs, whatever? Or are you going to change something about it so it doesn't happen again? And I think with Charlie being who he is, that's a turning point for you personally. What choices are you going to make after that situation?
Man, it's been a couple, I think 72 hours. It's been a pretty tough couple, 72 hours? Is it 72 hours already? 70, almost about right? 3 days? Trying to figure out.
I think so.
So it's been tough. And the thing that's been, I'll go back. I think that the hardest part about everything is the people that are making a lot of negative content out there on social media.
The rhetoric, yeah.
They're the rhetoric, right? They're out there. It's not just like a few people. It's a lot. And that's the scary part. And I feel like I needed to post about it. I'm still trying to process about it. I was gonna say something about it.
Yeah, it takes a while.
But I wanted to say the right thing. But so it's good that we're having this conversation because I did a live video trying to articulate it and trying to figure out what I'm going to say the right thing. But I think the thing here, and I'll leave it here is, whatever you post on social media, whatever you're doing, if you're doing whatever content you're creating, that's there for a long time. It's going to be there forever. And people do Google you. I was posting about that. People Google me all the time. People they'll come, say, I saw you on, those. And if I was posting stuff like that, if that's how you want to be known as, like if you want to be known as that person, I don't know. Like I think those are like, how do you want to be known? How do you want to be known? And we live in this tech world. People, well, I don't care, whatever. But you should care because what's going to happen is you may apply for a job. people may know you, your kids, or whatever. If everyone cares what other people think about. I don't care. I don't care. You can tell me all you want. People do care, and this is the argument I have with my wife. I do care what they think. But I'm like, don't care. But I'm like, I have to, people do care. People do care that's why, even for myself, I don't try to post a lot of political stuff, because I did post that at the beginning. I remember doing that, and people are coming in and trashing it on me. So I said, I've got to change my tune. But people do care. And so what point is that they're going to find you. They're going to see that. And if that's never going to go away. And especially how people are, they'll save it on their platform to throw you under the bus too. And they'll keep it on there to forever. So yeah, I don't know. It's tough. It's tough. A lot of people aren't thinking. They're not processing. Anyways, those are kind of my thoughts. I'm just kind of still processing it.
Yeah. But I think one of the things that, don't be afraid to, voice your opinion. I mean, in social media, I guess social media has become sort of the enemy in some areas, because people can take your posts out of context. The other day, someone posted, because I posted that picture with Martin Luther King and JFK and then Charlie Kirk, and someone commented and said, why'd you put that racist fascist next to Martin Luther King and JFK? And I'm like, they were fighting for the same freedom of speech. That was the whole thing about it. But somebody took it out of context because of the rhetoric that's out there, saying, oh yeah, Charlie Kirk's a fascist, he's racist. And then I pulled out some videos of him hanging out with his African-American friends, and videos of them having fun together, going on travels, speaking on podcasts together. And the only comment I got was from the guy, says, well, they're a traitor to their kind. And I'm like, well, that kind of sounded racist within itself, don't you think? Anyways, he removed himself out of there. I didn't respond. I just let it be. And I guess he removed himself as a friend on my Facebook, and his comment disappeared. So, yeah, it's what else can you say?
Ridiculous. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Also, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I think there's going to be. It's a catalyst, right? When certain things like this happen, we'll see what the dominoes and where it affects certain people.
Yeah, how everyone's responding to it.
I think there's people that are going to definitely, whenever anything like this happens, they'll get stronger. I mean, our beliefs and our values, they get deeper, and some people will say, hey, you know what, I'm not going to be afraid anymore. I'm going to say what I need to say. And then some people will be afraid, and they'll say, I need to be careful what I say, and I don't know. It's a double-edged sword with all things, because we can't control how people act.
No,
we can't control. We can't. But I think we can control is, I know what I want to control is always try to be, and I mentioned this, I'm not trying to be an influencer. I'm trying to be a leader. I'm trying to be someone that whenever someone comes into my life and we communicate, we talk, you're in my circle, I'm always going to try to provide value into you.
Exactly.
And I'm going to be as real as I can. Yeah, and as real as I can, not trying to be, I'm not going to try to sugar, and and this is one of my faults too. I try not to sugarcoat things. I'm very honest. But maybe, I do need a little bit more, the girls definitely, having girls helps me out. But,
yeah.
They're like, that's not cool.
Yeah. Sometimes kindness gets you in trouble, but then also being real about something also gets you in trouble. So
exactly. So always trying to find, and I think I've gotten better. And I think that's what us humans is all about, just trying to improve. Because I always tell, I've learned this saying, this is my first time doing this. This is my first time being alive. I only get one chance. I've never done this before. So, but what I can try is try to improve who I am, and
Yeah, and then, you always change your approach. You learn
Sure,
things.
sure. We learn things.
So when it comes to communication, all we
Yeah,
can do is like, oh, did I say something wrong? Can you give me feedback on that?
sure.
And sometimes people, they don't.
Yeah, yeah.
Sometimes
Yeah,
they don't.
absolutely.
And
Yeah.
because maybe they feel a certain way, like, I don't want to offend her if
Oh,
I give her my feedback.
sure,
I
sure.
was like, you know what? Give me your feedback,
Yeah,
criticism,
I'll hear it.
whatever it is you want to give me, I'll learn from it. That's the one thing. That's the one thing I allow. So yeah. So but yeah, this has been a great conversation. I think I needed to get something off my chest, I guess, in a way. And you've provided that platform to help me with that. And I know a lot of people probably, there are people out there that don't agree with my views, and that's okay. It's okay. We agree to disagree, um, and that's what it's all about. It's just to, you know, continue to move forward, live your life. I mean, just because you disagree with me or my beliefs or any of the things that I say, it's not affecting your life. You know what I mean?
You're gonna you're,
Um,
you're gonna be okay. I promise. You're gonna be okay. You're gonna wake up. The sun's gonna come up. You can still be angry. You can still be sad. You can still be mad. Be all I would say. You can still
it's a
kick.
new day, right?
It's a new day. You do you, and I'll be me. So that's kind of how I like to like say. I'll keep in my lane. It's okay. It's okay. Let's catch up. What's been new with you? I know you've been busy with work. You're still doing your web design, right?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I'm still doing my web design. I'm keeping my clients updated on the new tools and stuff that's coming out. Mostly to make your business processes a lot more efficient, your operations a lot more efficient. So those are the kind of things that I'm kind of sharing. I'm actually thinking about putting together some e-learning courses for new businesses and people that are still kind of behind on the technology side of things. Learning, there's still people that are learning what's the difference between a domain and a hosting account. you know I'm like, they are two different things, but they work together. So um I guess we'll start there, right? And then get into the more advanced stuff like automations and CRMs and AI technology that's able to help in kind of filling in the gaps of where you're missing out on clients and things like that. So those are kind of things that I'm exploring right now. I'm taking some courses myself to learn some of these new platforms that are available out there and are going to be very, very beneficial and provide value to others, because really what we're here to do is to serve each other, to help each other find ways to grow. Um, and that's kind of like my purpose, is to find the most effective and efficient way you can to grow, not just as a person, but as a business owner, as someone who has a lot ahead of in their future, a lot of future ahead of them. Um, and just like bringing on the message of um, to the younger folks, to the younger generation like me. I turned 44, 43. You say you're 47, you're almost in your 50s. um, you kind of wonder, like, what's my future now? Like, where do I go from here? What am I doing that's bringing value to others? How am I helping the youth? How am I helping people that has to bring forwards into the future, right? What's our society going to look like in the future? So those are kind of questions that I always ask myself sometimes. um,
I
so
think
yeah.
you should always be asking yourself those questions every day. And I think the difference between, I mean, not the difference between here's the commonality. And I think what you and I have is we think about those questions, because I'm thinking about that also too. And what action steps I need to take. What do I need to do? How do I do that? Even for myself, I was thinking about, we talked about the whole, people think like success. There's a whole world of people thinking that you're successful because they're selling you every day. I'm getting sold every single day. Oh, you become a millionaire or billion, whatever, or they're trying to sell you some get rich scheme, and it's such a distractor to really what your real purpose is. And I have to remind myself and say, I'm doing good. Actually, I'm doing pretty good in life. Like I have a home. I have things. I have dogs. I can pay my bills. My kids are not hungry. Having gratitude towards things versus like feeling like I don't have enough. Of course, I want more. Of course, I'm trying to get more and grow more. But at the end of the day, not to feel like I'm failing, right? But I'm doing what I need to do, and there's got to be more to it than that, than just being like, again, like you thinking like I don't want to go on. I don't want to. If I all of a sudden had X amount of dollars, like say I won the lottery or whatever, or let's say whatever. I wouldn't post, oh, I just got this new fancy, watch. I wouldn't post about it. Like, or that wouldn't be my life. I want to provide some value in people's lives where they're growing and become better. And I don't know. I still trying to find that. I'm still trying to find that. I love the jiu-jitsu part of it because I do grow. I work with men and I train with guys, but I think there's more to it. And I was thinking about like even writing. I would like to write a book, get into that, and kind of share that story of someone like myself. And I'm sure you have your struggles too, but maybe share a story where we persevered, we overcame, and we're here today. And
one of the things that I've been doing recently was listening to Napoleon Hill on YouTube. Have you ever checked those out? Like if you go on YouTube and look up Napoleon Hill, he's got so many different things about how to, like during days when I feel disengaged or, I wouldn't say under the weather, but unmotivated, I would listen to his YouTube and it would tell me about like what I should do every day, what routines I should put together every day. He always tells me, don't share your dreams to the world. That is meant for you, because once you share it, there's going to be people that are going to be like, bringing down your manifestation process. Like, oh, she's not going to make it. You don't want those thoughts, out there. So like you said, oh, I just bought this really awesome watch. You don't need to brag and tell people about that. That's between you and yourself. Don't tell your whole entire plan to anybody. Keep it to yourself, because that's where a lot of the process works.
Absolutely. You shouldn't share that. And I wouldn't, and here's the thing about that. What I share, I don't share that with the world. I only share that with you or certain people because we're on this. I think a lot of us are on the same algorithm of life.
Only share it with the people that are cheering you on. Like, exactly. Yeah, you got this, man.
Exactly. Yeah, you got this. Absolutely. No, you should share that. You should share that with people that we're all striving to become better and do better in life. That's just kind of what it is. There's versus people that are just, out there hating on everybody.
Why do you think they have cheerleaders for football teams?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, it's funny that you mentioned that because you're not. Why do you think that they don't cheer? Like, how like when they score a touchdown, they're not like, oh yeah, they don't know. Like the coach says, you got to get back into the game, because once that when you personally cheer for yourself, it's like you're done. Like your subconscious is like, oh, okay, I did. No, you still got to play the game, bro. you still got to hope.
Ego shows up at that point.
Yeah,
let other people cheer you on.
Yeah, let them cheer you on. Yeah, like you scored a touchdown, you got to get back into the game. You can't be out there like no. That's a whole thing. I think that's why coaches don't let you cheer. I don't do that for my kids. I don't let my kids do that too. It's like, hey, you guys still got to finish the game. We'll cheer after, and we'll talk about the good or the bad.
Yeah.
The good or the bad, whatever happens.
And cheer your teammates on. Cheer the people that are on your team.
Yeah, absolutely. It's good. It's nice. Yeah, absolutely. You got to be positive and cheer for your team. So I know you mentioned me. You still want to do like a podcast thing. Is that something you wanted to do, or kind of what were your thoughts behind that?
Yeah, I mean, it really depends on what type of conversation we want to talk about. We can talk about, what are some opportunities for growth for new business owners? What are some opportunities for growth for the nonprofit space? We can also talk about, what are some hard conversations that's hard to talk about. You know what I mean? It could be, how, like for you as a father, like what are some hard conversations that you've had to talk about with your daughters?
You
Maybe
you
people
don't
want
want to
some insight
know.
on that,
You don't want to know. You don't
relationship,
want to know.
relational wise, right? Relational wise, like what are some
Oh my
questions
God.
what are some questions your 3-year-olds have ever asked you
Oh,
that
yeah.
still lingers in your mind? You're like, I can't believe she asked me that question.
Oh my gosh. You too. I'm still in trauma. I posted a picture of my daughter. They cut an apple and they ate the apple and they put the core, like this is years ago they did this,
Hmm.
and they put it in the fridge. And I came and I'm like, why? Like why? Oh, I just thought that I don't know. I don't even know what it was. I'm like, what is this? Just you just cut an apple and you put, man. I have to. You have to have you. It's you have to look at it with a lot of like sense of humor. I think that's the thing. And these kids, when I was watching this, I don't know if it's something I was watching, but when kids talk to you, when they're asking you questions, you have to. The most important thing I've learned as a father is to like engage in it, right? Like listen, okay, yeah, great, even if it's going out there wondering, okay, yeah, because that's when they're most vulnerable is when they're talking to you, and they're trying to feel safe and talk and I've learned this. This is learning for me. My oldest, I always tell my oldest, I was very disciplined with her, and as I learn, as you grow. That's why it's you learn as you go along, right? And you try to improve. And now with my little one, I'm just like listening to her, whatever ramble she says. I'm like, oh yeah, that's cool, that's awesome. Tell me more, like because I know that's for her. She's trying to feel safe talking to me, because
Sure.
in the future, if I just shut her down and say, oh no, be quiet, whatever, then in the
And I've
future,
seen that. I've
Mhm.
seen that before
Yeah,
too, and that's why there's a lot of daughters out there, or even mothers that can't talk to their husbands, wives that can't talk to their husbands, sisters that can't talk to their brothers because maybe they've been in an environment where they get shut down for being emotional, or just the typical, like how some people see women as like the emotional type, always reactive. No, there are really, really strong women out there that you should have a conversation with, it that should never be silenced, and that's what's really, I feel like that's what's happening in the world, is when we can't have those conversations amongst each other, just to kind of like, hey, you know what, I love you and I'm sorry that this happened the other day, and taking a step away if you need to before coming back and having that conversation. Because I've seen, people scream at each other where it's just never ending, never ending, especially in relationships and stuff. And I'm actually very blessed and grateful that I had conversations with my dad growing up. I told him like what I wanted, what I didn't like, what my, how I felt, things like that. And I think being able to do that with somebody and have those conversations is very important, because um, we're able to understand each other a lot more. And one of the things that I've seen is that, oh, well, I don't want to tell my dad that. Those kinds of conversations, like I feel like he's going to scream at me if I tell him, or talk about that kind of stuff. And you don't want your child to feel that way, to feel like they have to walk on eggshells around you, right?
yeah. I think yes and no. I think yes and no, and the reason being is, and it's kind of crazy, but the dad, right? The dad's supposed to be like the more of like the disciplinary, the authority, especially with little kids, right? Like when I say you better listen to your mom, you better do, because now they're like, oh, because mom can tell them, go do this, do that, or I'm going to tell your dad. That's very powerful.
That's where it goes
Yeah.
like, oh no, don't do that.
Don't tell dad. Don't tell dad. Oh, once dad has to get up and like And so it works. And that's to say there's a difference between like the dad, you have to have a sense of like a voice of strength. And I have like practiced this, right? Like my kid, I'm like, okay, like I'm gonna get up, I'm gonna tell you, like I'm like, okay, dad. And that's not to say that mom is not, because mom is different. I think that and even with me, like, mom, I'm gonna be. Oh, this is me being honest. Moms and women are very generally like, they're more graceful. They have more grace. They're more forgiving. They don't. They can tell their kids 5, 7. Hey, I've told you to pick that up. Can you like, hey. And dad's like, hey, you better do it now. There's a difference, right? Oh, okay, I'll do it right now. And it happened with my 10-year-old. We're like, she's been having hangers, and we've been telling her, hey, pick up your hangers. I said, hey, pick up your hangers now. Oh, okay, dad. Okay, and she does it. Oh, okay. I get to bed. And
it works that way with some kids. But I think there are some kids that are like prone to mirroring what dad tells them to do. So there was this video that I actually shared on my story at one point, and it shows a skit of the father coming around the corner, seeing his son writing on the walls, and he screams, "Hey, don't do that!" Picks him up and shakes him, and then it switches to a scene of that same kid with a friend or a little girl across from him, and they're coloring on the coloring. It's like a coloring book, and then he says, "No, that's mine," and he takes the coloring book and from the little girl, and then it switches to, here's how this could be handled. So it's the same scene of the father coming around the corner, sees his son scrolling, writing on the wall. It's like, hey, son, hey, here's a coloring book. You can, scroll on this. Let's clean this up, and gives him a rag so the kid, wipes it off of the wall. And so then it switches to the scene again with him and the little girl. And the little girl's on his coloring book. And he's like, hey, I have another piece of paper for you to color on. Here you go. You know what I mean? Like the approach.
The approach is
it's the approach that you have in disciplining your child. Yeah. It helps them be responsible and take accountability for what they did.
Yeah, and
it's like, hey, son, don't write on the wall, but here's a piece of paper. Write on this piece of paper. Let's clean this up.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Yeah. That approach seems to be a lot more, like, to me, at ease. And I'm like, man,
but that kid's probably a good kid, though. That kid's a kid. That wouldn't happen to me. I'd be like, get out of here. I was a troublemaker. I'd be like, get out of here. I'm
but like,
this guy.
Moving forward, I mean,
when the guy shakes me, I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna do it right now, man. Okay, I'll listen to you, man. This guy's gonna kick my ass.
But I mean, there's a difference, because you're either teaching that child to do something over fear of something.
Sure.
Or teaching them, hey, be responsible, take accountability. You know what I mean? So there's a different way, there's a different approach to it.
I think it's a little bit of everything. You can't always do fear. You can't always be fearful, right? Because, sometimes you have to, like, I tell my daughter, hey, like, I've told you 5 times, I don't want to yell at you. I've gotten to that point. That's how my patience, I've even myself practiced my patience. I don't want to yell at you. Dad doesn't want to be mad at you. Right? She's like, okay, Dad. And it's like, okay. She knows, like, hey, my dad, I don't want him to be angry. I don't want him to yell at me. I don't need to get in trouble. I'm in control of that. Okay, cool. You're in control. Because the real world, you go to work, you get a job, you do something, they tell you something, and you just don't do it a couple of times. There's no one yelling at you. They're telling you to go out the door. They say, have a good day. We don't need you here, And then that source of income, you're not getting paid. You can't go out and, you can't pay your phone bill, and you can't scroll on your social media, and you're sad, and you Wi-Fi.
There's repercussions. Choices that you make is going to make, the different choices that you make, there's always consequences to it. Absolutely. Or some sort of repercussion. There's no right or wrong answer to, every problem that you run into. Sometimes you got to figure it out the hard way. Like me, I figured it out the hard way. I was hard-headed. I didn't listen.
I'm absolutely the hard-headed. The one thing I would say is I wish I had I didn't have like the guidance, right? I didn't have the guidance. I didn't have the people in my life. I kind of, there's a lot of things. I mean, I won't go into it, but if I had someone like myself, or had someone telling me, hey, like, you can do it, you can get up. And I did have some people, but they weren't invested. I was, it was just, there's a 20-minute talk here and there, or I'm going to talk to this guy, but someone who invested time into me, I'd probably be a different person. That's kind of what I want for my kids, is I need to invest that time for them and be that person towards them. Good, just be me. I'm not saying I'm not this perfect person, but I think
Yeah.
just being there is very important. So, hey, Analyn,
Sure.
it's good talking to you. I gotta get rolling. Where can people find you? Tell people like where they can see you, where they can find.
Definitely. I mean, they can find me on Facebook. I'm also on Instagram. My handle is at gemini.sunchild. So I like to share a few messages here and there. You can kind of see where my thought process is most of the times. And, on Facebook too, you can definitely find me there. But yeah, reach out. I'm always open to brainstorming. If you're looking to run a business or start a business, I'm open to, strategizing and seeing where you can start. So just reach out to me. My website also is at webkittycreative.com. It's my business site. I have a personal branding site that's coming up. It's analynbraza.com. So if you go there, I think there's a video there, a little podcast there. And then also you can sign up to be on my newsletter, and I can start sending some really positive notes and messages every once in a while.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So what I'll do after this podcast, I'll upload it, and then I have like the AI editor. If you've seen that, and just upload it.
Nice.
And I'll be messaging you through the week, and whatever it'll give me. It's just something I like purchased, and it automatically gives you. You'll see it'll give you it'll
Awesome.
turn into reels and have fun with it. And that's what I like to do. I like just provide value, do something for people. I wanted to do the podcast. I love doing the webcast, but I want to do a little bit more and just have you come out and just talk, right? So this way, more very popular right now is the reels. People aren't going to sit here and watch a 40-minute interview if they want.
Of course not. Yeah, so just split it up in little tiny sections and stuff.
Exactly. It'll split up in a couple sections, and maybe they'll grab something from you, and they'll see you, and then if they like you, they'll follow you, and I'm sure they will. They'll love to say, hey, I want to be your friend, and connect with you and help you. And again, the more
I'll definitely start to be more engaged in the groups for sure, though.
Yeah, and I always talk to people. Facebook groups are dead. I believe it. Back in the day when I first started, we had great, and I closed it off. But the group in there, I just use it to keep it active. But I think more the page, myself, and that's where I like to do my lives a little bit more personal, me, and have a chit chat once in a while. But nothing, like I said, I don't know. I'm trying to find the right wording for it, because it is. I think the algorithm is shut. It's shut it down a lot.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah, you know what I mean. And so, but anyway, I do still post in there, but definitely keep posting in there. And then it doesn't matter. Even if I saw this funny meme that said, "I'm only doing this for the 5 or 7 of you." For the 5 or 7 of you that like my post, thank you so much. For the rest of you, I don't know, like, whatever. But at the end of the day, like, I'm very grateful that we've connected, we've had talks, our conversations, and everyone that I've done one-on-ones with on conversations. I'm very grateful for those people, because again, I learn, I grow, and listening to you and talking to you, it helps me, and especially these past couple of days, it's nice. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the algorithm, maybe it's God, maybe it's
who knows, right?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Maybe it's just pulling all of us to kind of come together and talk about this kind of stuff. Because,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
I've lost friends. Like, I've lost friends that I've had for a while, since I even came into Vegas. And it's not that I don't like, it's not that I unfriended them or anything. A majority of them unfriend me, which is okay. We have a difference of opinion and beliefs, and that's okay. Maybe one day, if if God wants it to be, maybe we recircle back and maybe find each other again, and maybe we've changed in some way, right?
Yeah.
But you know, it's really timing, and it's not up to me when that timing is.
Yeah, and I think at the end of the day, good for them. Have a good life. For sure, the people I feel like as I've climbed, the people that I've connected with better people. I've grounded myself more, and like there was another meme I saw. Like you had like your friends list gets smaller and smaller. Your pocket
I
people
saw
that
that
you
one.
small. And at the end, you just have the damn dog. I just have the dog.
I just have the cat.
No, you have your pet. You're like, that's really like what I have. Like even for me, I'm just hanging out with my dog. Just me.
You have your seasonal friends that reach out to you. Hey, Merry Christmas. Oh, dang, I haven't heard from you in a year.
Yeah, exactly. They only reach out to you when they want something. Like that's it. Like so, you know, they want something. There's something there. You're like, I don't know. So.
If they want someone to talk to, great. You know, man.
And most of the time they talk, they're gonna complain about something. I've answered those calls. I'm telling you, I've answered those calls. So, like I knew, like I answered it and I picked it up and like.
And it's always the same thing, right?
I should have never answered the
and
call.
you give them the same exact advice.
I said, I don't know.
Maybe sometimes I have to hear it multiple times for them to finally.
Yeah, they're calling you because they're still watching you. I'm telling you right now, they're still watching you. They're following you. They'll go back to your page, even if they unfriend you. Even if they still go back, they have you in. They have your name in the search bar. They want to see your shit. What are you doing? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They want to see that. They want to see that. They want to see you. Like they'll come back and they're like, it happens to me. It happens to me. I'm telling you, I get DMs. I should screenshot this shit and they like, oh, this motherfucker. Anyways,
but, maybe one day they'll send you a message just like, hey, dude, I get it now.
Yeah.
You've been watching me, huh?
Yeah, I get it. I get it. Yeah. I don't think I've ever not yet. Not
no
yet.
response.
And if I do, I'll screenshot.
Left them on red.
Yeah, I don't know. It hasn't happened. But I do get messages, people saying, "Hey Ben, like that was a good post. Thank you so much." Like I'm going through things, and yeah, I get it, man. Like I said, I get it. We're all going through shit. Sometimes we're all going through it. It's one thing after another, man. It's one thing after another.
Yeah, but thank you so much. This is an opportunity to kind of talk to someone and talk about this kind of stuff.
Yeah, we'll do this again. Let me know when you want to talk, and we have time to talk, and then we can try to do a little. Like I remember last time we did a cool little we had a couple people on here and just chit chat. So
yeah, that was pretty cool. I really like that because then you include other people in the conversation too.
Yeah,
so you have different point of views.
Yeah, so if you want to come and join us, if you want to, let me do a little intro here. Yeah, if you'd like to come and join us and have a conversation, a couple of you join us and have a conversation. Love to do that with you. Just hit me in a DM and we'll do that. So. I gotta get going. I do have to get going here. I have to get ready for work. So no, it's not all of us living that good life.
Thank you so much for having.
Yeah, and we'll talk soon. And then message me anytime. Okay.
Yeah, let me know when you're available again. We'll definitely get some more people in there.
Yeah, we'll come in. I'll post it. I'm gonna post it in the group and then highlight it. And then there's other people out there we love to talk. And then that link I'll send you. It was easy, right? Easy.
Oh yeah. Click in, put your name, whatever.
Yeah, you're good. All right, we'll talk to you later. Take care.
Well, thank you. You have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.